Because CNN is a reality TV program and no longer cable news, they're getting roasted, and boy, are they offended by it. Recently, on Brian Stelter's show, Reliable Sources, his guest called him an activist, called him fake news, and he got really mad about it. But I'm going to show you some. CNN is just trash reality TV. That's the point. Soledad O'Brien, ex-CNN anchor, says that she was told to only have the right kind of black guests. That's not surprising because CNN is not news. They don't want to get you real, genuine opinions. They don't want to talk about actual events. They want to put on a show for you. So when they're called out for it, finally, to Brian Stelter's face, someone calls him an activist. Boy, did he get angry. Let's read the stories, though, and see what's going on. You're not a journalist. You're an activist. Jenna Ellis fires back at Brian Stelter over Trump's CNN threat. Campaign legal advisor Jenna Ellis got into a heated discussion Sunday with CNN host Brian Stelter over President Donald Trump's demand for a retraction from the network. Ellis joined Stelter on Reliable Sources to talk about Trump's comments about media and the letter his campaign sent to CNN demanding a retraction over a recent poll. Let me give you the, do they give you the quick gist of this thing? Citing the fact that not all of the respondents to the poll were registered voters, Ellis referred to it as junk. CNN has defended the poll, arguing that all of those who responded to the question about head-to-head matchup between Trump and former Vice President Joe Biden were registered voters. Stelter then brought up the president's tweet suggesting that Americans change their cable providers if they had service from Comcast, which he referred to as Concast, asking whether Ellis thought it was appropriate for him to use his platform in this way. Let me make it simple for you. Trump is an American citizen, and he's the president, and regardless, he has a right to speak his mind. If he wants to tell people to get rid of Comcast, then so what? Who cares? He can do it. Is it appropriate? Sure. He can tweet whatever he wants. And if he tweets something that's illegal, then maybe you call it out. But I'll tell you what, people have tried arguing that Trump threatening military action was like a violation of Twitter's terms because it was threatening violence. Okay, you know what? Just stop. Listen, it's the president, okay? He tweeted something out. Calm down. But however, I don't know if they actually bring up the context here, but the issue with the poll that many conservatives had was that it undersampled Republicans, and that means it would oversample Democrats or at least skew in favor of Democrats. What the conservatives were saying was that take a look at the percentage of people who vote based on political party and poll accordingly among registered voters. Brian Stelter says that it was among registered voters. However, I believe it was like 7 or 8 percentage points underrepresenting Republicans, which means you will skew in favor of Democrats. So when the poll came out showing Joe Biden with a massive lead, Trump said it was wrong. So here's the tweet. Comcast is known for its terrible service. On top of that, they provide fake news on MSDNC and NBC News. Drop them and go to a good provider. Ellis said that Trump was simply voicing his opinion, adding, he is also a citizen. He's the first one to actually use his platform as an American citizen to be able to call out the fake news media. You understand that, like, someday you're going to regret this, right? Someday you're going to regret this when your kids and your grandkids look back at this time and you use slurs and smear us as fake news to hurt news outlet, Stelter claimed. Oh, somebody's triggered. CNN, you're fake news. Brian Stelter, you duplicitous, evil man. I don't use the word evil lightly, but how dare you get outraged over being called fake news when your network ran a fake story about Chris Cuomo quarantining when he was actually out with his family 30 minutes from his house on some Hamptons property and got into a fight with a guy and admitted it on his Sirius radio program. We know for a fact that you published overt fake news and you have the nerve to insult her. Nah, I'm sorry. I call this evil. You know why? Because Brian Stelter knows for a fact his network lies to the right into the ears of the American people. And then what does he do? He feigns outrage to defend his lies. I'm sorry. That's evil. Okay. Look, you can be wrong. You can be self-interested, but evil is when you willfully mislead people for some kind of personal gain. Okay. That to me is evil. Stelter claimed, then adding, I think in 10 or 20 years, if we sit down and talk about this, you'll recognize how damaging it was to use terms like fake news to attack journalists who are trying to do their jobs. You are a lying, evil person. I am trying to hold my language back because I got some worse words that I could use, but not here, not on this show. We keep things family friendly. Bro, you lied. You lie so much So much of what you do is lies, and you know you're lying. Listen, this is not an argument about the opinions of Brian Stelter or Oliver Darcy, the media reporters. This is not an argument about whether or not I think Trump was lying or incorrect or misleading. I am talking about CNN doing a whole segment where Chris Cuomo comes out of his basement and goes, "This is the moment I've been waiting for. I finally get to leave quarantine." When a week before, he was caught off of his property with his family doing whatever shenanigans, actually gets into a fight with a guy, threatens him, goes on his radio program and says, "I was out there and this guy had that bike." We know it was a lie. New York Times journalists have called it out. And Brian Stelter has the nerve. No, I'll tell you what you say, Brian. "I am so sorry for the fake news my network has put out. We will try harder next time." Instead, he gets super triggered. You know why he got triggered by this being called fake news? Because it's true. Look, man, people call me fake news all the time. People say I'm lying. Tim Pool purposefully misleads people, blah, blah, blah. I don't care. It's not true. And I tell you all the time, hey, you should watch CNN. You should watch Fox News. You should watch MSNBC. You should watch Steven Crowder. You should watch Stick, Sex, and Hammer. You should watch Kyle Kalinske and David Pakman because they have different opinions than me because I don't know everything. And you know why he gets mad when you call it out? Because he's the guy who says, "Don't watch the spin. Just come to us for the real news." And then he lies to your face because deep down he knows he's a bad person. He knows it. I know he knows it because he didn't used to do this. But now he works for a reality TV network and he's probably under contract and has no choice. Oh no, what do? They want me to lie to people. Yeah, and he did it. He sold his soul and it seems like it's eating away at him. So he got mad. In 15, he keeps going. Or I'm sorry, this is Ellis shooting back. In 15 or 20 years, you're not trying to do your job. You're not a journalist, you're an activist. That's the problem. You have an agenda, anti-Trump. The American people see through this. This president is finally holding the fake news media accountable because you're activists. You're not reporting facts and truth. That's right. He is an activist masquerading as a journalist, but it's worse than that. Brian Stelter used to be a journalist. He interviewed me in 2011, back after Occupy Wall Street. He used to be a journalist. He talked about the media, and then he decided to take a somewhat lucrative contract with CNN to produce an anti-Trump reality TV show where they create an echo chamber of voices where they're all sitting there patting each other on the back, shaking each other's hands. And he knows what he's doing. He quit the news business, man. Listen, around this time, there was a big push for these kinds of shows. I know, because I had people pitching me these kinds of shows. Hey, man, why don't you do something with a little bit of comedy in it? Why don't you do something where, we'll play to one side, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, it's exactly what Brian Stelter saw. He was at the New York Times. I believe he was at the New York Times. And then I remember he switches to CNN. They must have sat him down and slid that contract right in front of him and say, "Hey, man, abandon journalism. Become a reality TV host, and we'll make you a lot of money. All you got to do is keep pretending to be a journalist." And he did it. You know what, man? I have no problem saying that what I do is political and cultural commentary. Absolutely no problem. You can call me all the names in the book. You can insult me. You can call me fake news. It's fine. I'm going to keep doing my thing. And I'm going to tell you, okay, if you don't like what I have to say, I can recommend other channels. Actually, watch Brian Stelter. Why? I think he's wrong. And I don't think you need me to tell you that to prove it. I think you can watch him and be like, yep, that guy's wrong. The problem with Brian is that he captures an audience and then tells them not to go watch other people. But you see this triggering where he got really angry. It was a slur, fake news. Oh, calm down, buddy. It's because I think he knows deep down he's not a journalist and he's given up all that credibility. Do you think that in 50 to 100 years, people are going to look back and be like, Brian Stelter, a great symbol of journalism of the 21st century? No, they're going to be like, oh, that guy who had that reality TV show? Nah, whatever. I don't know what they're going to say about me. To be honest, I don't care. I'm not pretending to be this great journalist of reliable sources talking about the truth in media and fake news slurs. No, I repeat, I'm a dude sitting in his room complaining on the internet. And that's how I expect to be remembered. And I'm fine if people don't like me. But this guy wants to pretend to be a journalist. So when he gets called fake news, boy, does he get offended by it. Listen, bro, this is the network you work for. Soledad O'Brien, she called out the racism of your network. Yeah, CNN is garbage. Complete and utter garbage. Fake news. Look, man, the fake news about Chris Cuomo isn't the only thing they've done. Look at this. Former CNN anchor Soledad O'Brien made stunning claims on Saturday that a network exec once told her she could only have the right kind of black guests on her show. Reacting to the controversy that has rocked ABC News over the weekend, O'Brien reflected on her time at CNN and indicated that a network executive discouraged her to sit down with Black radio host Roland Martin. This is an interesting read. Reminds me of the CNN exec who told me Roland Martin isn't the right kind of Black person. She didn't want me to book him on my show. The tweet included an L at the end, though it's unclear if that was alluding to an unnamed CNN executive or a typo. I think maybe it's a typo. She added that according to the network executive, New York Times columnist Charles M. Blow, who was a frequent guest of hers, was the right kind of Black. You see what CNN is? They don't want to tell you the truth. They don't want to bring you real, raw opinions and facts. They want to make sure they have the right kind of people, be it for racial reasons or for echo chamber reasons. So when Brian Stelter does his reliable sources show, and they recycle the same fake talking points from the same fake people who lie, you have to wonder what their goal really is. It's not journalism. So I hope that in the future, people look back at this time and they can say something like Brian Stelter was a great reality TV host of a fake show where they pretended to be journalists. And they can call me every name in the book and say Tim Pool was just some stupid dude who complained on the internet. And boy, was that guy dumb. And I'll be like, well, you know what? You got me there. I'm just a dude in his room complaining on the internet. And so is Brian Stelter. Just some dude sitting in his room talking to his friends with his own biased opinions, pretending like he's objective when he's not. So get off your high horse, buddy, man. The rest of us did a long time ago. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up in a few minutes, and I will see you all shortly.